Hey folks, it's Marvin Cash, the host of The Articulate Fly, and we're back for the last casting angles of 2025 with the man himself, Mac Brown. Mac, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Marvin?
I'm getting there, on the other side of a pretty nasty norovirus, but I think I'm going to make it.
Oh, man. That's a rough thing at the holiday season.
Yeah, just too much stuff going on to be knocked down for 72 hours, but I'm on the other side of it and glad I'm able to talk to you about fishing in cold weather this evening.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a good topic because it's already cold weather a lot of places around the country, and we're definitely going to get our share here. It really hasn't been, we've been fortunate, really. I mean, around the Smokies. I mean, there's snow up high today again. It's our 5th snow of the year, but nothing like what we're seeing on the news. You know what I mean? You see the news and it said like 50% of the country's covered in snow. You look at the map across the nation and it's like 0 to 5 degrees all up north of us. And I'm just like, we've been pretty blessed. So today was 45 degrees for the high and right down around 29 in the morning. So that's not really that. We've been fortunate, I'll say that. But we're going to get our share of some cold weather coming, I'm sure.
Yeah, but even if you were fishing today, you'd want to prepare, even though that's not as cold as you can go out and like steelhead fish in, for example.
Right. Yeah, that's what I thought would be a good topic. Just there's a lot of tricks over the years when we're in bad weather. In one of them, we were talking about, let's start with the foundation and work up. Let's just start with the footwear. So the footwear, I always have had for the last 30 years, I've always had a size, like 1 to 2 sizes bigger of boots that I wear in the winter. So I can wear more heavy wool, like Scottish socks that come up to your knee. It got lightweight sock, then I put a big heavy sock. And that way, when I put it inside the neoprene, whether it's neoprene wader or regular waders with the neoprene foot, then that bigger boot size keeps from cramping my foot because the cold tends to hurt worse. For me personally, like if it's tight and it's cold, it's worse. You know what I mean? If I've got a little room in the wading boot to not feel like my whole foot's getting crunched. So that's a good place to start is talking about the footwear and then working up for the reason that if your feet are uncomfortable, that's just adding to the misery.
Yeah, and I would say too, I mean, the main thing there is if you cinch down on your boots like you do in the summertime and you're wearing 2 pairs of socks, you're going to cut off the circulation in your feet.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why you're going to get cold and be really uncomfortable.
Yeah, and it's hard to move around and be agile in the cold like that when the feet get cold. So let's talk about layering from there up. So we got these socks that come way up because I like those really long, heavy socks in the winter. I mean, I have a bunch of pairs of them and literally they come to your knees. So, I mean, it's almost like half your leg's already warm because these socks, they don't just come to your, above your ankle bone. I mean, they come way up. And so it keeps your calf because your extremities are going to get colder faster anyway. So then the layering is like silk weight Capilene from Patagonia, best product ever invented. They're real light stuff. You put a pair of those on, then usually we'll come in there with some heavy expedition weight Capilene over top of that. And I like using, like what you said, I'll use those a lot too. I wear a lot of ex officio for travel over the years just because they're real lightweight. They fold up the size of a softball and super lightweight pant. And that way you put those on the outside and put your waders over. And I've still got lots of neoprene, which is telling my age. But even the old 6-8 millimeter neoprene waders were incredibly warm compared to, all these layers of Gore-Tex waders that are out there today. So I still prefer neoprene. If it's really nasty weather, I'm going to be in neoprene usually. Then after the neoprene, let's talk about the jacket wear. So we're going to do layers just like you're out backpacking on the AT in the wintertime. Same deal, like silk weight. I usually wear a short sleeve, like silk weight, undergarment, then another lightweight long Capilene over that. And before I'm done, I mean, I'm going to keep layering up. Then I'll usually wear another expedition weight Capilene and sometimes a big Icelandic sweater over that. And then a good jacket over top. And so good jacket being if it's not 4 or 5 layers of Gore-Tex, then stay away from it. Because you need a jacket that's going to hold up to the weather and keep wind off of you. And usually that jacket's going to have like the Velcro at the wrist cuff's going to have a hood. All that's going to really help. But then we got to also let's just knock it all out real fast. And we'll talk about some other stuff for cold weather.
All right.
Another thing at hotels, those little cheap, we use these a lot in adventure racing back when we did a lot of eco challenge kind of stuff. Those cheap shower caps at the hotel, save them. I save them. I've got tons of them in my boat all the time. So if it's really nasty, going to have to keep your head warm. So what you do is you take that little plastic shower cap, pull it down over your ears, and then put you a big toboggan over top of that. Or sometimes I'll wear my big fur hat. You know, it looks like a bomber pilot in World War II. It looks kind of goofy, Marvin, but it's incredibly warm. And then your head's not getting cold. You lose a lot of heat up around your ears and your head. So you want to keep that really warm too. So you can regulate this whole package. Like it starts to warm up a little, we'll just pull the big heavy hat off, and that's regulating, keeping you from start sweating. You don't want to start sweating ever in cold. So the other key is the hands. In fishing, you're dealing constantly, fly fishing, you got a wet line in your hands. And if that's the case, well, I'll let you talk about the gloves, but we use the polybutyl. And tell us why you use those, Marvin.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the food service gloves. You can buy them on Amazon, and the great thing about them is obviously they're waterproof, but you get a lot of feel, right? And
Yep.
and so, you know, the way I wear them, usually if it's cold enough to worry about that, I'm going to probably have a pair of Sim steel-headed mittens, right, where it has the mittens, but you pull it back and it's a fingerless glove, and so you basically wear that food service glove underneath, and then put your glove on top of that, and then your fingers can get wet, but they don't get cold.
That's right. And that's the key, is you got to have the polybutyl gloves. Are just such a good, you can buy them like Harbor Freight. You can buy them on Amazon, but buy a big box. Like I think the one I bought at Harbor Freight last winter was like 500 pairs of I think they're 6 mil, but you can really feel like sensitivity. You're not losing any sensitivity. You're just having the hands not turn purple and be cold. Because what happens, a lot of people don't realize, if you try to fish, say, a lake, and it's windy on a lake in the winter and it's down in the 20s, you'll lose contact with your line just because you can't feel the line. And once you can't feel the line, it starts looking really silly when you're trying to double haul or do something with the line in the left hand, and you can't even hold on to it because you let go of it. So your casting goes out the window. So you got to be able to feel the line still. And the big key with those polybutyl gloves is you can still cast like on still water or a river, plus have the sensitivity and strike detection because your hands aren't freezing. Because once they turn purple and turn numb, that happens to everybody at every age. Everybody thinks, oh, that's just for old people. No, it's not. Because I remember I wore polybutyl gloves back in my 30s, and I just turned 62 since we talked last time, Marvin. So I'm telling you, that's a trick for all ages, not just for people over 50, you know?
Yeah, and the great thing is they're sensitive enough. You can tie, 6, 7X with them, right? So it's really great. But a couple other things I would say too, I don't have knee-high socks. I usually wear like 2 pairs of Smart Wools. A trick if your outer shell is like a pair of like traditional kind of like wading pants, like those ex officio pants, if you tuck your cuffs into your socks when you put your waders on, your outside layer, those ex officio pants won't roll up your leg, right?
That's right.
Because otherwise you got to reach down there and figure that out, or you're out on the water and you're like, why on earth are my calves cold?
Because there's no Capilene covering them now.
Yeah, so if you just tuck them in, those ex officio pants will stay put. It makes it easier to take your waders on and off. The other thing I would say too, I see a lot of people do this, and if you're trying to stay warm, folks, please put your jacket on top of your waders, and if it's raining, definitely do it, right?
Oh yeah, I've had a lot of clients over the years, Marvin, that tuck their jacket inside their waders, and then when the weather turns, a little bit for the worst of snow or sleet or whatever, it's all going right down there. Yeah, that's not a good idea. I always put your jacket on the outside. And that brings me to another point. I had a G4 jacket that's falling apart right now. I mean, the seams on the inside, it's about 10 years old. But I'm kind of glad it's falling apart because the people made it. It doesn't even cover your waist. You follow me? So if you're out there wading, like in the summer, and it gets bad weather and you're wearing your ex officios and it starts a downpour, it's not really a good idea having a jacket that doesn't even cover your butt. You follow me? So I'm glad it's getting trashed because I've got tons of other really good Patagonia 4 or 5 layers of, you know what I'm saying, good weather extreme material that I don't really favor a jacket that doesn't cover your lower body a little bit. The really good parkas and stuff in the winter, like extreme jackets, that you'd wear hiking or backpacking, they're going to come down to your knees. So that's keeping you warm. But I mean, seriously, a jacket that only covers you to your waist is not helping you much stay warm, is it?
Yeah. And I would say too, folks, you don't have to go out and buy a bunch of new gear. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can do, right? So, if you layer properly, like I have a an old Sim steelheaders jacket. And when it's really cold, that's what I wear on top. Otherwise I'm wearing an old Sims windstopper, which is great. But if you layer up and, and even if it's just windy, right? If you take your old summertime rain jacket and put that on the outside, it'll really help you stay warm.
That's right. Keeping the wind off makes a huge difference too. So, but hopefully some of those tricks will help. But just because I've seen a lot of people in the winter over the years with trips and outfit and stuff that they're just not really prepared for the weather that we're in. That a lot of it's by not layering right and not dressing right to start with, and that's a hard way to learn it. So hopefully this will help people have a more pleasant experience if they're out there first time or second. You know what I mean? When bad weather where they're not just shivering the whole time and they can enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's funny. I've got on the floor right here. They just came today from Amazon, 2 big extra value packs of hot hands, which are invaluable, right?
Yeah, those can be good. I still got the old gas, Johnny hand warmers that we used as a kid, duck hunting as a kid. I've still got a bunch of those where you've seen those where you light it and then you let the flame burn out, then it starts glowing hot, and you put it in a little felt bag. I still got a bunch of those that I use. And if it's cold, like in the boat, like rowing, because people have to realize when you're rowing other people down, we might be sitting there. I drop the anchor and I'm just sitting there and they're fishing. I'm not getting to move around. At least they're casting and stuff, but you're sitting there. So as a guide, those little Johnny hand warmer things are nice to put in the bib, right in the front big pocket where you can put your hands in there and warm them up,
Yeah. So you carry your Red Ryder BB gun when you use those?
No, but I've still got, those were actually a big thing back in the 60s and 70s. Those little, I think they were Johnson. Was it called Johnson hand warmers?
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't remember, but I've still got a bunch. Maybe I'll find some and send a picture of them for the listeners. But yeah, those things are invaluable because they're really warm. I mean, they get hot. They're like having a red coal in your pocket,
Yeah, and I would say one last thing too. If you're a camper, like I have a small, backpacking stove, and so that's an easy thing to do if you're going to be, particularly if you're not going to be close to the car. If you carry that pretty small, easy to fit in like your sling pack or your backpack. A great thing, if you get cold, have hot chocolate or, freeze-dried backpacking food because, no one fishes as much as they want to. So when you get out, you want to maximize that day. And the last thing you want to have happen is at like 2:00 in the afternoon or usually about maybe a little bit later than that when that sun starts to drop behind the ridge and you start getting cold. If you can get soup or like hot chocolate in you, you can fish until dark and make the most of your day.
Oh yeah, no, that's another good point. Like a good Stanley thermos or a little. I'll use those a lot in the motorboat in the winter. Is a little fancy feast, alcohol stove in a little titanium cup. It makes like, it's a 2 cups of water, and that makes a big difference. You make you some hot tea or cocoa or whatever. Instant coffee. Now a lot of these instant coffees, I got a bunch. Let's mention these folks too. They sent a whole bunch of coffee to me when the show season ended, and I really like these. We've been using them a bunch this summer. Called Angler's Coffee, and they're like a tea bag, and it makes a really nice stout cup of coffee for like a pint. You just drop a tea bag in one with some hot water, and you're on your way. I think that's a really good because it's convenient. You don't have to have like a press and all that kind of stuff to make coffee. So you can enjoy coffee just like drinking tea.
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, folks, I hope all these tips have helped you out. And, this will be the last Casting Angles of 2025. And, Mac, we'll remind folks like we do all the time that, it's going to be show season. You're going to be all over the place in 2026 at all the fly fishing shows. Have you decided on any other shows or events you're going to do, or are you still kind of trying to figure that out?
Well, no, I'm just kind of enjoying life, Marvin. I wanted to tell them about getting this old 66 Ford too. So we brought back from my father-in-law that's moving from Georgia. And it's a classic looking truck. It's clear coated patina, like pottery colors on the top from the rust where they sanded it all down. But it's turquoise and white. So I'm going to enjoy working on that before Santa Claus comes.
Well, there you go. Well, folks, you're just going to have to wait till Marlboro, I guess, to see Mac on the road. And, as always, Mac, why don't you tell folks where to go? Because, you were telling me classes are filling up for 2026. You want to let folks know where to go so they can sign up or book a guide day or get a casting lesson?
Yeah, that'd be great. It's Mac Brown Fly Fish would be the best place. And on the right menu, just go underneath specialty classes. And that's where I put my show itinerary and all the stuff that's coming up for 26. And it has links to the guide schools and all those other good dates. So that's probably the easiest thing, just macbrownflyfish.com.
Well, there you go. Well, listen, folks, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, Mac.
Yeah, Happy New Year and Merry Christmas to all the listeners and to you too, Marvin.
Take care.